Hello everybody, in today's video we are going to speak about the jinns. In the Islamic religion we have a reference to this form of creation, it's a creation of God that is clearly mentioned in different sources in the Quran. In fact, there is a whole surah, a whole chapter, it's called Surah al-Jinn, is dedicated to these entities. And there has been many topics of speculation, of curiosity from many people about who are these beings, what is their function, their purpose. We have similar and different narrations, hadiths, that speak about the jinns, and we have accounts that tells us how they were created out of fire. In fact, the shaitan, Iblis, is one of these jinns that we have from the narration that when God created the first man, Adam, and told them and the angels to prostrate before Adam, Iblis refused. The others kneel before Adam as a recognition that this is the greatest creation from God, but Iblis refused. It's a jinn refused, and in fact there are others who join him in this rebellion against God, trying to induce human beings to disobey God, to disobey the will of Allah. And therefore the narrations tells us that this kind of creation seems to have existed before the creation of man. They live on earth before the creation of man. Therefore perhaps some of them saw the creation of Adam and human beings as someone who were taking their place or their possessions or something, and they refuse, like in the case of Iblis. Others serve God. We have narrations that tells us that there are some jinns who are Muslims, and we have many hadiths that talk about the Prophet Muhammad, that how he went in many occasions to convert the jinns to Islam, and how some of them accepted Islam. But there are also narrations that tells us that there are jinns who are Christians and jinns who are Jewish. And I don't know if there are other kinds of jinn from other religions, but mainly we know this. In fact, we know from history, from other texts, that the Jews and maybe early Christians, they have similar understanding about this. They also say that yeah, there are some kind of creation that Jewish, Christian and Muslim, in the same way that we have it in Islam. And we have, in fact, narrations that tells us and describe us and tells us many names of these jinns, how they are able to live for longer time than as human beings. In the case of Iblis, he asked God not to die until the day of judgment and allow him to make humans to disobey God. And there are many stories of jinns who claim to are descendants of Shaitan, who descendants of Iblis. And regarding these, we know in the narrations that yeah, they are able to, they marry, they are able to reproduce, they have children, they die, they eat food. Some say that they eat from bones and whatever is left from us human beings, they feed themselves on this. And there are also different narrations about what they eat. It's kind of difficult to understand because they are not completely human. They are similar like us, but they are kind of spiritual too. We have stories that tells us how some of these jinns are able to possess the body of a person, and some of them are able to inflict a lot of pain and control and making the person's life miserable. Someone who perhaps inducing the person to get far from God, not to pray or these kind of things, because some of them they live in the houses of people. And some of them, like I said, the ones who are Muslim, they might live in the house of a Muslim person. That's why there's a tradition in Islam that when someone enters a house, he must do the Islamic greeting even if there's no one in the house. Assalamu alaikum, because maybe there's a jinn living in the house who is a Muslim jinn that is allowed to be in the house. And then therefore there are other jinns who we can call them shayateen or satans. Some people in the comparative analysis perhaps identify them with demons. Some people say it's not accurate to call them demons like they call them in other traditions. But well, the idea is kind of similar, because some of them, like I said, could do harm and evil. People who do witchcraft and wizards and these people, they are able to imprison these jinns so they can serve them and do their will. The magicians, people who do these kind of things, they are able to control the jinns. They say if you are able to know their names, then you can control them and they can obey you and do things for you. So the people who do these kind of things, magic, etc., they are able to control these beings and utilize them for their purposes. Also, even we have many narrations. For example, we have the story of the prophet Solomon, King Solomon, who also had the ability to control these jinns, and we have the narration how God gave him a ring, and with this ring he had the ability to control these jinns, and there are stories that said that he was able to control up to 72 of them, etc. The point is that there are many sources from Islam and from the previous monotheistic religions that were revealed that speak about the existence of these beings. In fact, also we have narrations even today in the Arabic world, specifically in what is today the Arabian Peninsula, mainly Saudi Arabia, Oman, the Emirates, etc. In this area there are families today who claim to be descendants of jinns, of the union of a jinn and a human being, and they claim to be descendants of these people. I'm not emphasizing if this is true or false, I'm just exposing or presenting an information that there are families who claim this, and they say that some of these jinns are able to fall in love with humans, and sometimes they either try to possess a woman because they love this woman, or a man. And there are stories in the Arabic world, like in the famous book Alf Layla wa Layla, that the 1001 Nights, that they speak about these jinns are able to mate with humans and descendant or some kind of man or some kind of creation comes out of that. They look like us, like human beings, but they are descendants of these jinns. That's what they say in the many narrations. Specifically, now imagine in the desert, the old days, the cold nights, the breeze, all this darkness brings or creates the moment or opportunity to tell many of these stories that goes around in oral traditions about these beings, about these jinns. In fact, there are places such as caves or rivers in which people say, oh, this is the cave of a jinn, there's a jinn who lives in this cave. People who know about these, like magicians perhaps, they're able to imprison them in bottles or containers. For example, we have the famous story of Aladdin, this how he was able to bring out this genie. The same, it's a jinn. It seems to be the one he was using, it was a good jinn perhaps, good jinn, I don't know. But it comes from this belief in jinns. In fact, one of the pillars of faith in Islam is the belief in other creations of God. They believe in angels and jinns as creation from Allah. Therefore, it's an accepted and very important recognized matter in Islam about the existence of jinns and their purpose, and how some of them, as I said, became Muslims regarding or according to the preaching of the Prophet, and many others who had encounters with these beings and entities that are among us up to this very day. Some people look some kind of protection against them, and some people, like I said, are being possessed by them, and then you have to bring someone who does an exorcism. And we have it, like I said, not only in Islam but also in other religions and traditions. This whole topic with jinns, demons, spirits, similar things. It's a very fascinating, interesting topic. God willing, if you have questions or comments about this, you're very welcome to leave your comments. We can perhaps do future videos in which we can expand more on this topic. As always, I want to thank you so much for your attention, and God willing, we'll see each other in the next video.